Hello everybody and welcome to another video. Today we will be working on the IS-7. This thing has quite a lot of armor. It uses the 130 millimeters, so it does pack quite a bit of punch. And because of how big it is quite survivable. And it can even survive being ammo racked from the ready rack in the turret. Overall, it's not that bad. I haven't really used it in survival, so I don't know how it would perform, but I'd imagine it shouldn't perform that bad. But with that out the way, let's get started. As always, make sure your stand is unobstructed, make sure that you have all the materials you need, and make sure that, there's just nothing's gonna get in the way while it's building. Let's start welding. Alright, now that our chassis is done, we were going to move on to doing the little bits and bobs around it. So all that's really here is just a fixed periscope front. You might need to increase the rotor height to place them. However, it seems that we're going to get away with just being able to place them down like normal, which is great. You're going to want to bring that displacement up by at least like maybe 1. Just that way it's not clanging out so hard. Although it's not going to be perfect, and I think that's just due to the placement of those. But, yeah. Can't have it perfect always. Next thing we're going to do is grab a conveyor and another projector. And we are going to put the conveyor first. Let's extend this rotor out so that way we have space. Then we're going to put the projector on top. Then we are going to access that projector, which I might need to name it. Okay, now that we've gotten rid of everything else, we're going to lower this by 1. Make sure that the cargo crates are connecting to that conveyor junction, so that way your turret will be fed by the body. And not that it matters, but I'm just going to go ahead and rotate the turret forwards, so that way it's, facing the front. I just prefer to build it that way. It looks more proper that way in my opinion. But yeah, just recheck, make sure it's center again, and start welding. So now that we are back, our turret is done. You'll see that unfortunately the build and repair just wasn't able to get to some of the blocks. Now in creative we can just F8, use F8 mode and fly into there, but what you'd probably have to do in survival, lag spike, is you'd probably have to get down in here, grind a couple blocks, because I believe those missing blocks are right in this corner here and that corner back there, so you might even have to grind a screen down in some of these as well. But I would strongly suggest doing that and then just resetting your projector and letting the build and repairs re-weld all that stuff back here. So that way everything comes with the preset like settings and stuff. You won't have to do any of that yourself. But that's what I would suggest doing, as there's really no other way to reach it. And I thought that the build and repairs would get this, but apparently not, so that's just what I would suggest if you're having that issue. Of course, another option that is always on the table with pretty much any of these builds would be to build the body and the turret completely separate, and then you could have something that puts them together, and then you attach the rotor and the rotor head together, but that's always risky because of clang. So we'll probably avoid that, truthfully. So next, we are going to work on the top 50 cal. So we're going to start with 2 normal pipes, followed by a pipe converter. Oh, lag spike. Then we want a gimbal. Doesn't really matter which gimbal. I kind of like the look of this one more. But if you want a more analog look, you can use this one too. You kind of need the gimbal just because without the gimbal, your gun doesn't really... You need your gun to rotate in place pretty much. Without the gimbal, your gun won't rotate in place and it just kind of looks awkward. So, would definitely suggest using it. So the next thing that we are going to grab is we are actually going to grab a slim wing fill conveyor and place it right here. And what that's going to do is we can attach our 50 to that, and that will feed our 50. That's how we feed it right there. And we go back here. You could do something like this, or you could do something more like that. It doesn't really matter, truthfully. I'm just gonna go like that so the sight has a little bit more to hold on to without getting shot out. And then here's where you can use just about any sight that you want. I would personally suggest a sight with a pretty good field of view. However, for the sake of the build, I'm going to go with a relatively minimalistic sight. I'll go with the regular sight, actually. Then place the sight. Just like that. And that is your coax turret done. I'm going to fold this back up for now. And there we go. Okay, now that we have our coax done, or roof-mounted gun done, the next thing we are going to work on is our main gun. So first things first, we place the 130mm on the hinge, lag spike. Make sure these little bits right here are facing upwards, and that's how you know it's facing the right way. Make sure it's attached directly to the hinge. Once you know that it's attached to the hinge, we are going to place a cargo container right here. So we're going to start with that. Here, I believe, actually. Then we are going to place a backward slope right here. Then we are going to start our sloping right here with the 2x1 base. If you need to, you can raise it up a little bit. You're probably going to need to because it's quite a tight fit. Truthfully, it is. And then we're just going to continue this slope all the way down. Oh. I apologize for the lag spikes. I don't know why that's happening right now. Anyway, continue the slope all the way down like so. We're going to go ahead, do the same thing for the other side. I'm gonna go follow it all the way back up until we get right here. Well, it looks like this one's gonna want to be a huge pain, unfortunately. try moving it down a little bit. That might help. Oh. Oh, we had a couple seconds. If you need help with doing something like this, I also recommend an auto clicker. And just have it spam as fast as the auto clicker possibly can. And I find that really useful for when you're trying to quickly place something while it's like bugging out like that. And in case you're wondering, yes, generally speaking, this turret is simply a very clangy one. Now, in all honesty, it shouldn't be jiggling this much. I don't normally have this sort of issue with it. However, it looks like this one in particular is not really having a good time. I couldn't tell you why, to be truthful. But anyway, we're gonna stick, actually, the lowered 50 cal onto it, like so. And then we can stick the sight. You can actually attach it to the 50 cal, like that. You're probably actually gonna need the offset sight. There we go. Took a second, I had to go back and look, but we got it on there. And now we can work on the bottom, which the bottom's pretty easy. The bottom is simply the heavy armor inverted corners, like so. Along with that. Once you have the bottom done, we are going to place an embedded 50 cal on either side, and then we'll just flip it so that way the little ammo boxes are facing inwards towards the barrel of the gun. And then, yeah, that should be about it, apart from some plating up here. This is purely decorational, honestly. I guess, well, yeah, no, it does kind of serve a purpose, because unless people are familiar with this vehicle, they won't immediately know that there's a cargo box that most likely holds ammo right above the hinge. So I would definitely still recommend installing these plates right here to hide it. And there we go. Just like that, your main gun is done. Now that we have the turret set up and operational, we have our roof-mounted machine gun done. Those should be really the only two moving parts, apart from obviously the sights right here. So what we are going to do is we're going to go ahead and cut it down, quickly copy it, and then we are going to start the process of programming and adding tracks. The reason why I'm adding tracks now is because I'm actually going to start waiting until the vehicle is already on the ground to add tracks, as it seems like with the vehicle being up on the stand, it messes with the way the tracks load and it doesn't want to. So I'm just going to start waiting till the vehicle is on the ground to add the tracks. But now that we have the tracks added, we can start the programming, which honestly really isn't that difficult. If you've seen my other videos, you can probably already guess exactly what we're about to do, which is recompile all of these blocks right here, except for simple. For simple, you run the refresh argument. This PB right here is just an old unused one. I don't use this, so just leave it. I couldn't be bothered to delete it, so I just kind of left it there. So what we are going to do now is we're just going to look and we're going to check. That PB is working. That one is working. Our VDS is working. We are looking good. So now that we know all our other PBs are working, we're going to go ahead, highlight Mart, and add our any gun that is on that mantlet, we are going to add. So you probably should name the 50 cals. I made the mistake of not doing so. However, since I have the block vision or whatever it is that highlights the blocks as you highlight them in here, I can see which one is which. So we'll add those. We'll add our sight, which is the regular offset, or offset right, not the regular. The regular is for the coax 50 cal. Everything else should be added. So when we look around, our turret should be completely operational. We'll go ahead, mouse control, pull up our sight. Accidentally fire smoke because that's how we roll. And we do fire. Except now we can't see. And I can't drive because this isn't the driver's seat. There we go. Okay, it cleared up anyway. So in case you're wondering and you've noticed that the elevation for this vehicle is extremely slow compared to the rest, that is because you literally cannot run this any faster or it will clang out. If you try to go up and down any faster than this, it will absolutely clang out, mess up, and you'll be out of a tank. And so instead of rebuilding the turret to add more space, what I did is I simply limited the speed at which the turret can travel, and that seems to have pretty much fixed the problem entirely, as I haven't had clang issues since I did so. So in case you're wondering why the elevation is so slow on this one, that is why. Next, we'll move on to the pretty much the very last part, which would be our roof turret, which I named side turret. Now that our turret is set up properly, we can go back into here, go to turret, click on side turret, and then we're just looking for advanced flat rotor. Of course, you know, you can name it and that make it a lot easier, but I have completely forgotten to do that once again. But basically it's just your flat rotor, gimbal rotor, obviously your camera, so that way you can control it. And then just to make sure we did it right, yep, we are now in control of this 50 cal. Which is honestly a pretty useful 50 cal. I mean, it sits so high, you can use it to 50 cal stuff from behind cover and such. It's pretty good. And it has such good elevation and depression that you can shoot stuff like literally right next to you. It is quite nice. But anyway, with that out the way, I do believe that is it for this vehicle. I do apologize that this one was a bit messier than normal. Not that any of the others were too much cleaner, but this one was definitely a little sloppy, but it is what it is. I'll do better as time goes on. But if you really liked this video and it helped you, and um, you enjoyed my vehicles and stuff, I'll try to release vehicle like reviews and stuff about 2 maybe 3 times a week. We'll be doing a survival series, me and my buddy, and we'll be posting that as well. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, feel free to like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you later. All right.